What's going on, American truckers? Hope all of you are staying safe, being good to one another, and enjoying this fine Monday. Anyway, I'm up here in Hastings, Minnesota. That's the drone footage you're looking at now. I love this drone, man. I gotta say, I love this drone. If you're interested in getting one, it's a DJI Mini 3 Pro. Flying right here in about 18 to 20 mile per hour winds at about 300 feet. I mean, it's just an absolutely awesome toy. Makes for some pretty decent content. A little bit of my video footage gets a little bit kind of squirrely, I guess, because of the wind. But it is in 4K, or that's the mode I had it set to, is 4K. But anyway, it's beautiful country up here. Pretty much everywhere looks beautiful when you get 300 feet in the air, right? But this is Hastings, Minnesota. Anyway, we're going to get into this. What makes a driver better? These companies, they kind of kiss our butts. They'll tell every driver they're a good driver, right? Especially right now, because everywhere's short-handed. Everywhere's having a hard time keeping drivers. You can leave or get fired or quit or whatever and be working somewhere else in the time it takes you to do a 34-hour reset. At the present time. At the present time, we don't get replaced. We replace companies. Now, it won't always be like that. So you do need to always be working on yourself. And even though it is like that, it shows good character if you work on yourself and try to be the best driver you can possibly be. Because there will come a day when it's not going to be like that. Now, we all know the obvious. Don't get in accidents. Don't get tickets, right? That's the obvious. That's one thing. But there's something else. There's other things in there. It's like a soup. When it all comes together, whenever I see someone, or I'm sure companies, whenever they view a driver, they're looking at it pretty similar, as to what makes one driver better than the next. And I believe it's a soup of a few things. One, can they run? Can they do 500 miles a day, 600 miles a day? If they're in a faster truck, can they do 700 or 800 miles a day? If they're training, can they do 800 or 1,000 miles a day? Do they have the endurance? Another thing is their appearance. Is their truck clean? Do they keep the inside of their truck clean? When the mechanics go get it, does it look bad? Does it smell bad? Things like that. Whenever they walk into the office, do they look presentable? Or are they wearing flip-flops and shorts looking like they just got off the beach down in Florida? There's a few factors in there. I've heard a few companies talk about it over the years. And we all kind of look at that guy. When all your clothes are dirty, that's one thing. But, there's always that guy in the company. Every time you see him, he's got shorts on, flip-flops. But yet he wants to be taken seriously, right? But he doesn't want to look the part. Wants to make a lot of money and be taken seriously and convince everybody he's got a really hard job whenever he's literally dressed in the same thing he probably slept in the night before. So appearance, I believe, is another part of being a good driver, being better than the next driver. Another thing that I think is part of being better than the next driver is attitude. And this one, I think, is probably up there with number 1 or number 2, attitude. As drivers, a lot of times, especially now, a lot of us realize we can go to work anywhere we want at any point in time we want. We don't have to put up with a whole lot. And sometimes that gives us a bad attitude. And we have to remember that it won't always be that way. And anywhere you're working, you should be trying to make it a career. You shouldn't be looking for an excuse or a reason to go somewhere else, right? You're never going to move into the office. You're never going to move up if you just keep bouncing from company to company to company. You'll always be a driver, right? So in order to move up, in order to become better, you need a good attitude. So what's a good attitude? Be likable, be nice to folks. Don't be arrogant. Don't be rude. When dispatch calls you and they need a favor, you're always there to help them out. I'll tell you something I've learned over the years, and I won't get on a soapbox here and try to say that I don't ever get a bad attitude. Sometimes I do. It takes a lot, though. I will say that. It takes a lot. But sometimes I do get a bad attitude. Sometimes everything's going wrong. And I lose it. I get out of character and I just lose it. Right? But it doesn't have to always be like that, and it shouldn't be like that. And you should have a good attitude more than a bad attitude. Attitude is standing out as a good person whenever you're dealing with dispatch. Dispatch is not the enemy. You got to think about it. They control our trucks. You can talk 10 karat crazy to them if you want to. But if you're a company driver, they control your truck. It's not a really intelligent thing to do to talk 10 karat crazy to the person that's got control of your truck. Not in my opinion. So having a good attitude is really important. And I think that's with anything in life. You'll notice the people that succeed the most, they tend to have a good attitude. Now, there will be some people out there that say, oh, he succeeded because he's related to so-and-so, and he succeeded because he kissed this guy's butt, or he kissed that guy's butt. That's a hater mentality. I don't really have a hater mentality. That's not who I am. I like to see everybody succeed. I like to see everybody do well. I want to see people do better than I do. I hope my kids do better than I do. And I hope you listening to this video right now do better than I do. I hope you have a better career than I've had. Big part of why I started doing YouTube was hoping that I could tell some of my story and some of the drivers out there wouldn't make some of the mistakes that I've made over the years. Not telling you what you should or shouldn't do, just telling you my story, and hey, if you follow the same path, you might have the same result. So be cautious and step light. I want each and every one of y'all to do well. And that's why I do these things, and I talk about these things. Some people know that a good attitude will lead them places, but they don't know what a good attitude is. Good attitude is stress management. Being able to see the good in things, no matter how bad it's getting. Working with others within the organization that you work for. Working with dispatch, working with safety, being honest with safety when something happens, being honest with your company, keeping your appearance up, keeping your truck up. Walk in there like you deserve the money that you make. Walk in when you're dealing with customers even. Customers don't have to use your company. They don't have to use your company to deliver their freight. And if you work for a private carrier, they don't have to buy whatever product your private carrier sells. They can just as easily go get it from somebody else. There's a ton of drivers out there with CDLs, but there's not very many truly good drivers out there. When you put the whole soup together and you start mixing all the ingredients to make a well-rounded good driver, it's not a lot of them out there. Now, there's plenty of arrogant drivers, plenty of guys who think that they rule the world and their shit don't stink, right? Plenty of them. Those are everywhere. It's commonplace. But actually, truly good drivers that are good at what they do, have a good attitude, and work well with others, as well as run the miles, as well as keep a clean truck. I mean, the whole 9 yards. There's not very many. Not very many at all. I bet you couldn't fill up one company with a driver that fit all of those attributes. It'd be pretty difficult. Anyway, I hope this helps someone out there. I hope that if anything, it gives you something to think about. Maybe turn over a new leaf and make a change within the company that you work for. I'll tell you this, that if you work on your attitude, it won't change everything overnight. But given some time, and it will. But you have to be patient. You have to give it some time. Sometimes you can have a good attitude with somebody and they'll still cuss you out, or they'll still kind of do you wrong or whatever. That doesn't mean that it didn't work. It doesn't mean that it's not a good thing. Sometimes it takes a little while. But anyway, I hope all of you stay safe. Be good to one another. Remember, we are all family, even if we are a little bit dysfunctional. If you can, help that next driver out. Do something nice for them, and maybe they'll pass it along. Take care. Stay safe. Old Snapper, I'm out.